game week. Obviously, couldn't be more excited. I mean, it feels like normal. We get everybody, get the media in here. We're not Zooming. You know, a lot of excitement in the office. I know kids are popping around this morning. It's obviously their day off, but I think there's a lot of excitement out of our kids to get this season rolling. It's been a long time since we've had some normalcy, so we're excited. We're excited to play against somebody else instead of ourselves. And we had, you know, a great preseason camp, I think. Really happy with where we are as a program, as a football team right now, offensively, defensively, and special teams. There'll be a lot of things we'll find out on Saturday at 4 p.m. that maybe we didn't know during camp. I think once the lights turn on, a lot of things happen, and you know, we'll figure out some more things too deep-wise on that day and see how guys respond and how they play. As far as UMass, good football team. I know you guys will look and go, oh, yeah, they only played 4 games last year, and they were 0-4. They've got 12 new transfers on the football team. I think, you know, from all over the place, 2 from North Carolina. So it's a totally different football team. It's not like you're going to see the same team you saw last year. They've had a spring like we did. I think they feel like they've, you know, reloaded and have some guys that can play. So it's going to be a challenge. You don't know what you're looking at. I mean, you got guys that played down in Texas Tech and you know, North Texas, I mean, UNC, Arkansas, a couple of junior college guys. So we know how the portal is. I mean, you can get filled up pretty good in the portal, not just recruit a bunch of high school kids, especially with where they were last year. So Walt Bell's the head coach there. I've known him for a couple of years. He was at Maryland, was at Florida State. So he's been around. You know, he's probably going to call the plays, we assume. He'll be the guy making the calls. So he's a head coach, offensive coordinator, and he's, you know, that's why he's the head coach there, because he's got a great offensive mind. And Tommy Restivo is their defense coordinator, has been down in South Carolina State and has been at UMass, I think, since 19, kind of a guru. But they also have another guru, Jim Reed, who was at BC for probably the last 4 or 5 years. Just a heck of a coach. Coached against him when he was at Richmond. I was at Rhode Island a long time ago and got a ton of, you know, was the old head coach at UMass years ago. So a guy that's got a feel for UMass. And again, I think he's a great football coach that'll help out on defense tremendously for the defense coordinator. So that's a guy I'm sure they'll lean on. So we'll see some new things from BC, whatever it may be, as far as what they do on defense. So, you know, one guy, you know, Tyler Lytle, the transfer quarterback from Colorado, is probably going to be their signal caller. So it's a guy that, you know, there's not a whole lot of tape out of Colorado to look at, but big 6'5" guy that moves well and makes good decisions from what we gather from you know, various intels, but you don't see a whole lot on tape. So we'll find out Saturday what they look like and who they've got and their jersey numbers they have on the field. Questions? Okay.
Middle linebacker between Cervasier and Wendell right now, and where is that? Well, I guess that's really the linebacker group as a whole.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Yeah, Jay, I really can't tell you. We feel really good with all of them, you know. And, you know, it's going to be, I mean, you know, Wendell's a good football player, okay? And so is Cervasier. So it's a good problem. Anytime you see some oars on there, it's like, man, we're going to play them all, and we're going to, you know, and who's going to start next week might be based on how they played this week, you know. So I couldn't tell you who's going to start there. We're going to find out who, you know, picks up the game plan, who practices better this week. It's nice as a head coach to be able to do that as a defense coordinator and offense coordinator, to be able to say, hey, we'll find out at the end of the week. It's good motivation, but you know, whether Savas lines up at Mike or Wendell or Chase Pine for that matter, we feel good with all 3 of them. It's a great problem to have, and then if one gets in the game is not as good, you got the other guy you can put in. You know, we've not always been in that situation. So, to me, you know, oars in 2021 compared to oars back 3 years ago are totally different. And I can tell you, you know, what position is an oar? Well, I don't know. Or hey, we feel good with each one of them. And for the most part, I could say, you know, pretty much feel same thing in the tailback position. We got some guys. We're going to find out who got the hot hand, which we're always going to do. And so there's a lot of positions you feel real good. D tackle. I mean, we got 6 guys that I think can really play. I mean, I don't care which one goes out there. And you know, I told you Jules is looking good. You know, he's moved into a 2 deep. He's never been in a 2 deep ever. So he's done some great things. I'm excited about that guy a lot. And Keyshawn Camp's been outstanding. So there's a lot of oars on there, but and I don't even know if there's oars at the D tackle position, but I just know there's, you know, I could have put oars on every one of them because I feel good with all those guys.
Where's the tailback? Do you run each guy a series, or if the first
that starts, has a good first series, and that person stays? How do you divide that?
I would say we'd probably play it by series a little bit. And again, it's Monday at 12:05, so we'll figure that out. And again, it also come down to how they practice this week. Maybe it's 2 series. I know if I was a linebacker, I'll just go back to, and I have a good series and you take me out the next series, I'm upset, and that's not good. I think you like to get in the flow of the game. But when you got so many good tailbacks, maybe we'll throw 2 or 3 in there at the same time. Who knows? So.
Noticed there weren't any oars next to Hava's name. How did you feel about how he finished camp and the guys that are behind him that you guys might bring to him?
Yeah, I mean, Hava had a great camp. I mean, by far, maybe the best there. Even as good as Deslin, I guess. So, Hava looks good, and we're excited about where he is. John Morgan's had a nice camp. He had a great final scrimmage, which I was waiting to see. Because he practices his tail off during the week. I don't even know who else we have at the defensive end spot. And then Dayon's been good. He missed a couple of days a week ago, but we expect him to be full go and start off this week right where he left off.
Kicker, do you have a plan for? Or I guess
no.
I should say, do you plan on using
Nope.
both guys, or do you not know which guy you want to use?
Right now, I don't know. That's one of them bad oars, I guess. Okay, I'd say it's a bad oar right now, and it's always like, again, some of those oars, it's by design, and we got good. But right there, I think we're both solid. I can tell you this, we're hitting about 70% over, if you looked at the long range of camp. But then when you look at the last 5 days, they're probably hitting at 83, 84%. So they both have got, but, they both get better together. You wish one guy was at 50 and one guy was at 80, and you say, okay, it's easy. But it's a hard decision, and they both deserve to kick, to be honest with you. The last 5 days are, like I said, hitting over 80%, which is about where Kessman was a year ago. I think Kessman coming out of camp a year ago was like 86%. So it's just going to kind of be we've got all kinds of different ideas, but we haven't nailed down one,
Last year when you crossed the opponent's 40, you were pretty much sure you're going to get at least 3 points because you had Kessman. Do you feel maybe once you'll be a little more aggressive on your play calling, you won't be counting on your kicker as much? Because you don't have the veteran there anymore?
Yeah, I don't call the offense plays, but and never have and never will. Whipple will probably be a little bit different, I would imagine, just knowing, I mean, he's a conservative guy, and he knows he had Kessman, and now he doesn't have Kessman. And, but all along I'd like to be aggressive and go get 7 all the time. So, I can understand points are points and being smart and all that, but, we'll be okay. And again, I do trust both those kickers that when we do line them up, that we're going to put it through the uprights.
There's no more quarterback. What have you seen? How can he evolve, even from the end of last year, just over spring and camp? How does he look different than he did last November?
That's a great question. I mean, he just looks so much more comfortable and patient, and just and again, it's not like his arm is so much better, he runs better. It's just his comfort in the pocket, I would say. The way he's looking at coverages and just how relaxed he looks like that. I think when your freshman year stuff is moving really fast, and you go to your sophomore year, it's still moving pretty quick. Right now things are really slow. It looks like DBs and linebackers are moving in mud out there. He's just making great decisions, and he can see it all now. Which I think in another year, another 2 years in the NFL, it's just going to help him. He just has a really good vibe about him right now, and there's just calm in the pocket. That's what I love to see.
Last year there were times where he was maybe your best option to run the ball. I mean, he would tend to make plays happen. Do you need him to be smarter about business decisions, when he is past lines?
We don't want to run him. We're not a quarterback run team, as you know anyway. If he's got to scramble, he's got to scramble, but we'd rather him throw it to the guys that get paid to catch the ball and run with it. And that's something I think he'll be better about doing.
Have you heard anything from Coach Whipple about facing off against UMass for the first time?
Not really. I think that's, if there is, you're not going to hear about him. He's not that type of guy that's going to be like, yeah, I want to, can't wait to play him, And it's probably like me playing Youngstown State. I mean, it's kind of one of those same things that you can never let your emotions get a hold of you. Obviously, we all know. I mean, I think it's in every profession. It's natural. It's human that that you want to go do that, but that the emotions won't get into the game.
Randy told us at the start of camp that given Eric Howell's experience, it was going to be tough for someone to come overtake him at safety. What has Rashad done that has pushed Eric and made that an owner's situation?
Again, it's a good thing. I mean, Rashad Battle is big and athletic. Rashad could be out starting at corner right now. I mean, he's a team player. He understands how important that position is, and he's not having just one guy, but having two that you feel comfortable there. But how you feel comfortable because he's done it in a game, and you know what's going on. And our offense throws so much at our defense during fall camp that it's kind of hard to put it together. So we're looking forward to see what Rashad does in a game plan where you got to, this is what we're going to do. I mean, during camp, and we have this humongous package in on defense. It really is big. And then all of a sudden now it's going to, scrunch down, and we're not having to worry about some of the things we have to worry about in camp, which will make it a little bit even easier on Rashad. So we're looking forward to having a great week out of him, and again, playing both those guys and keeping them fresh and find out what both of them are going to do on the hash and in replacing DeMar Hamlin.
Will Farrell be the first freshman off the bench, you think? First freshman that was considerable action?
I would say that'd be my guess. True freshman, I would say yes.
As far as offense goes, will Vanilla be the flavor of the week this week because you're not able to show too much? You're going to rein them back a little bit?
I really like a little bit of, not vanilla, how about like butter pecan or something like that? I want to have some nuts in it. No, it's not going to be vanilla. We're going to play. And we need to see what we got. And if you ever get bored, bring me a little cup of butter pecan. That'd be good.
What does Jalen Barton do for you at kickoff and punt return?
He's explosive. And, and MJ Devonshire can be a punt returner as well. We hope to see a couple guys at least go in there and try it and see what they do. But Jalen is an athletic guy. He's got some juice to him, and we're excited about watching him go.
Can MJ play both sides? Corner?
Can he do what?
Corner. MJ both sides.
Yeah, he can play both. Yeah, I mean they play a little bit of both. Whether he goes to the field or boundary, something we'll figure out this week. That's easy.
Is there an aspect of your program where you feel like you've really come a long way since year 1 or 2? Whether it's your development or your staff evolving or the depth of talent. What do you think's your signature right now that maybe wasn't before?
I don't know. That's your job to figure out what it is. But I would say just our football team. I think just the depth, roster management to me is critical. The culture here I think is great, and that's why we got guys that stick it out and play, and guys that come back and play a 5th year, 6th year, 7th year for Tipton. So I think that's the key is having enough depth to be able to do what we do. So I'd say culture and roster management as far as keeping them and not being weak at one position or another, having enough guys that can compete at a position.
Last year you had 1 game before you kind of dove into ACC play. This year you got 4. Does that change how you approach non-conference schedule at all?
We're just looking at one at a time, but it definitely, having, some non-conference games helps. It's not going to change how we do things or what we do. There's the vanilla ice cream that my man Jerry likes. But, when you go with just the vanilla ice cream, you don't get to see much, you don't get to get much flavor. And, your kids aren't getting better at it either. So to me, a little bit of chocolate, maybe chocolate pecan, who knows? I don't know if they make it. But we'll have a little bit of different flavors, and we need work at it. If we're going to put something new in, we're going to spring it in the opener.
What's it mean to you that you've been here longer as head coach than most guys in recent years? I mean, you're one of the top tenured coaches in maybe 50 years. What does that mean to you personally?
It means I like Pittsburgh, right? Again, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's 1 year at a time. I don't look at the years, Jerry. And it's nice. It's great to be here, but in this profession, you never know. That's the first thing, and it's just one game at a time, 1 year at a time, and we'll worry about next year. Doesn't matter what happened in the first 6. It's what we do this year, and just coaching football.
Since it's such a turbulent profession, is it an accomplishment to be here 7 years? We were standing here, I remember, day after Christmas 2014, and here you are 2021.
It's an accomplishment. I think it's hard to be a head coach that many years. I don't know. It's hard. It's not easy to continue to do the same things, but whatever.
Is it harder today? It wasn't 15.
I think so. You guys can add them up. I mean, they go like this. And again, it's a two-way street. Do you want to stay or do you want to go, or do you have to go? So there's a little bit of both. I mean, guys jump ship and go, as you guys know, what's happened here in the past. Guys taking different jobs, so it's a two-way street. I love Pittsburgh and enjoying working with our kids and our staff and our people.
That all camp, you said it was a three-way battle at tackle with Carter, Gabe, and Matt. What gave Carter and Gabe, I guess, the edge there?
Experience, probably. I mean, Matt's a little bit younger, and Branson Taylor's right there too. I mean, Branson's a guy that just keeps getting better. He's a baby, and the older they get, the more mature they get. I mean, you think about it, if Carter and Gabe are gone in a year, which they have another year left, but if they're gone in a year, you're going to feel pretty good after another year. We need to get those guys going and getting some valuable reps like we did last year during COVID. Really helped Matt, get his feet wet, and I think Branson got in some extra tight end, big, unbalanced looks or extra tackle stuff. That helped him, and he'll keep getting better.
Has anyone stood out on special teams, kick coverage, punt coverage, anything like that?
It's hard in practice to really tell. We'll find out, we'll find out on game day, really. I mean, you try not, you're not going live. You're afraid to get somebody hurt on kickoff return, your punt team. But, when you look at specialists that are covering kicks, the most important thing is who's going to cover kickoffs and who's going to cover and make plays on the punt team. And then the rest is your return game and blocking people. So the guys that will show up are those guys that can make tackles inside the 20-yard line on kickoffs and who does a great job covering punts.
Pat, you mentioned when camp opened that your vaccination rate among your players was 93, 94%. Is it safe to assume that it's maybe higher than that now? And what are the nature of the discussions with the kids that might be that last 2, 3, 4%?
I'm worried about winning football games right now. We're right there, right where you talked about as far as the percentage goes, maybe a little bit better. And at the end, the guys just got to figure it out. The good thing is, we're in a good spot as far as that goes. And sometimes you just kind of you give up. So I've given up on the last whatever 5%, whatever it is, and focus on game week.
Are you glad you'll be coaching without a mask?
Oh, or shield that's fogging up. There's no doubt. That's like the best. One of the things I'm looking forward to the most is being able to sit next to Larry on my radio show, not have to sit across the room. That's going to be nice, Larry, huh? Not have to wear a mask walking into Pete to go to the radio show. I mean, there's so many. Golly, it's beautiful.
We have any final questions?
I have a lot of seniors on this team. We've talked about that a lot. One of the things that experience means is there's not a lot of opportunities. For those freshmen, I only see 2 on the 2 deep. What's been your message to, I think what was a pretty highly regarded recruiting class about patience and guys working for their opportunity that may not come right away?
Yeah, I mean, patience is the key. I mean, I'll just point out some guys that, and again, I'm going to miss somebody. So you young guys don't get mad when I miss somebody. But Noah Bigelow, Khalil Anderson, Crumpley, those guys in the back end. McIntyre, Javon McIntyre is a guy that could show up in the, whether it's special teams or in another couple of weeks when they start to really gel. D-line ways, Nakai Johnson, watch out. He might not be in the 2 deep right now, but it's a guy that I see in the future. Jaden Bradley, wideout. That guy's a football player. Coach Whipple sent him down to the scout field yesterday because he kept jumping in, taking everybody's, like the guy loves football. You got to love it. Like he's jumping in, taking Jared Wayne's reps. You wish Jared Wayne would say, get out. But that guy's like, just dying to get in there. He loves football, and he's going to be a good football player in this conference, and he'll play this year. I have no doubts as long as he stays patient. And Rodney Hill's another one of those guys that's a good football player. So probably miss some guys. So whatever.
I noticed you had Junko in your depth chart. What has Bob meant to the program since you've been here?
Bob is a true legend. I mean, that guy strolls around to practice every day. He's got energy every day. For me primarily, not as a football coach, but just a person in this office. He has just got the greatest personality. Recruits love him. The kids love him. He's exactly what you need. You need Coach Junko in this office, and he means the world to this program. Everybody in the program. Everybody knows who he is and what he's all about.
And you were talking about Kenny. What about the guys around him? How do you feel about the depth of receiver and also with Lucas this year, tight end?
we got to keep our tight ends healthy, but I feel good with where our tight end room is. And Gavin's been, solid. Feel great with the depth at the wideout position. Really do. I mean, we're going to have some guys that can stroll in there and keep guys fresh that are running fast. So feel good there. Feel okay at the O-line depth. We have to stay healthy there. Not as many as I'd like to be loaded up with. I can tell you this, the Ryan Jacoby kid has been a great addition. He's going to be a really good football player. So who knows, maybe in a couple weeks he gets eligible. He's still learning the offense, but we're excited about where he is.
Guard?
He could be guard or tackle.